Today we are going on a journey. A journey through time, really, to see how artificial intelligence could completely change our relationship with one of nature's most powerful and destructive forces, the flood.
For all of human history, the answer to that question has been a pretty clear no. Floods are this timeless, seemingly unbeatable challenge. But what if that's about to change? What if the key to taming the waters isn't found in bigger dams or stronger walls, but in lines of code and massive computation?
So, to make sense of this whole thing, we're going to break our journey down into 3 distinct phases of AI. Each one represents a huge leap in what's possible, and each one completely transforms how we deal with floods. We'll start with the here and now, with ANI, and then we'll peek into the future at the incredible possibilities of AGI and ASI. Okay, first up, the era we are living in right now, which runs up to about 2030. This is the age of artificial narrow intelligence, or ANI. And its role isn't to magically stop the disaster, but to make us way smarter and way faster when we have to face it. The best way to think about ANI is as a specialist, a kind of precise navigator. It can't stop the storm clouds from forming, of course, but it can chew through an absolutely insane amount of data, weather patterns, terrain, river levels, and then calculate with incredible accuracy where every single drop of that water is going to go. Its whole job is to help us optimize our defenses. So how exactly does it do that? Well, right now, ANI is already giving us 4 critical advantages. First, it uses deep learning to predict those really dangerous localized downpours hours ahead of time. Then, it can automatically optimize things like dam releases and city drainage pumps to get ready. If a flood does hit, it uses satellite and drone imagery to map out the damage almost instantly. And finally, it gives us personalized, dynamic safe routes right on our phones, telling us which roads to avoid in real time.
And just look at this table. The difference ANI makes is, well, it's huge. We're going from predicting floods at the county level to pinpointing them block by block. Instead of a dam operator just relying on their gut feeling and experience, we have an AI making the optimal, data-driven call. It's a total shift from a generic everyone evacuate broadcast to a personal alert that says, hey, your street is at risk.
When you boil it all down, ANI's greatest gift is time. It gives us the high-resolution information we need and speeds up our response, creating that absolutely critical lead time for us to actually do something. It helps turn what was once an unavoidable disaster into a risk that we can manage.
All right, now let's jump forward to the next era, which is projected to start around 2030. This is where we meet artificial general intelligence, or AGI. And this is where AI stops being just a tool we use and starts becoming an autonomous commander.
We're calling AGI the planetary surgeon, and for good reason. Unlike its narrow-minded predecessor, AGI would have a true, human-like general intelligence. It could understand and connect totally different fields, fluid dynamics, civil engineering, even social psychology, to manage an entire ecosystem as a whole, all without us having to be in the loop. And the leap in its thinking is just incredible. You see, ANI asks a simple optimization question: what's the most efficient move? AGI, on the other hand, faces what's basically a water-related trolley problem. It might decide to strategically flood a field or a less populated area in order to save a dense city, weighing things like economic loss, population density, and even historical value to find the truly optimal outcome for the entire region. So what could this thing actually do? Well, its capabilities would be a massive step up. It could manage an entire river basin like it's a single living system. It could dynamically transform a city's infrastructure, roads, parks, you name it, into a temporary sponge city to absorb excess water. It would deploy fleets of robots to reinforce the levee before it even has a chance to break. And get this, it could even use psychology to craft messages that persuade stubborn people to evacuate, overcoming that "it won't happen to me" bias we all have.
And this is the fundamental shift. For an intelligence like AGI, a flood just stops being a chaotic, random act of nature. It becomes a massive, complicated, but ultimately solvable calculation problem. A problem of fluid dynamics and logistics.
Now, let's look even further ahead. Let's jump to 2040 and beyond. This is the era of artificial superintelligence, or ASI. And honestly, this stage is where things get truly mind-bending. It's not about defense or management anymore. It's about making those ideas completely and utterly obsolete.
So if AGI is the surgeon, then ASI is the planetary operating system. Now this is where we're really getting into the realm of theory, but just think about it.
We're talking about an intelligence so far beyond ours it's almost impossible to comprehend. In this future, it wouldn't just respond to the weather, it would literally write the code for the weather. It wouldn't just manage the water cycle, it would program it.
So you're probably wondering, how on earth is that even possible? Well, the first theoretical step is something called molecular weather control. The idea is that an ASI could deploy trillions of nanobots into the atmosphere to manage water vapor directly. It could literally stop the conditions for a superstorm from ever forming in the first place, either by dispersing the moisture or by gently guiding it to areas that desperately need rain.
And it doesn't stop there. The next theoretical step is planetary scale engineering. An AI could command massive fleets of autonomous robots to reshape entire coastlines or carve out huge underground reservoirs in a matter of days. This would create a sort of kidney for the planet, something that could absorb any excess water and then release it later during drought.
And the ultimate result of all this unbelievable power? Well, floods, as a concept, are simply erased from existence. They become a historical artifact, something our great-grandchildren will only read about in history books. So, we've journeyed from the present all the way to a future that sounds like pure science fiction. Let's just take a moment and look at that entire evolutionary path side by side to see the complete picture.
This table really just summarizes the whole journey perfectly. We start with AI, today's AI, which acts as a warning system. Its main job is high-precision prediction, and its core approach is to help us evacuate. Then we move to AGI, which steps up to be the city commander. Its role is autonomous governance, with the goal of actively defending us from threats. And finally, we arrive at the theoretical ASI, which becomes the planetary OS. Its role is total physical control, and its approach is simply to eliminate the problem at its source.
For a superintelligence, a flood isn't a natural disaster at all. It's just a bug in the system, an inefficiency. It becomes a system error that just needs to be patched. And that leaves us with one final, pretty profound thought to chew on. When we finally gain the power to debug nature itself, when an event we've always seen as a terrifying act of God becomes nothing more than a system error, what does that mean for our place in the world? And what does it mean for our fundamental relationship with this planet we call home?